Hello, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. Life again, it's Tuesday. I'm happy to be here with you because we've got a really interesting topic today. And there's a quote, and I kind of can't ever remember. I always have to look up who it's actually by, but it says, it's not what you don't know that gets you into trouble, it's what you know for sure that simply ain't so. And when the first time I heard that, I was like, because it's kind of like literally you can see it everywhere, and I definitely see that play out a lot in my work, like in a whole bunch of different ways. But it's a difficult one because it basically prevents people from even recognizing the problem. So like they definitely can't solve it because they can't even see it. And it's incredible. Always find it amazing how difficult it actually is for people to even break through that. Because when you think you think you know, and then basically everything else is sort of not available. And yeah, it can show up in a million ways, and I'd love to hear how it shows up in your world.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some examples as well from
Mm-hmm.
your work. So I'll share that it's true. We tend to think we know it all until there's somebody, a mentor, somebody that speaks something that wow, maybe I don't know it all and I can deepen my understanding in this. That's been my personal experience, especially as I deepen my work in relationships. What I see though for some people is that your partner kind of becomes your habit. Like I know exactly what you're going to say, so you don't have to. I can have the conversation with myself.
Yes.
And habits are great for, you want to get out of bed and you got to put your feet on the ground and you learn to relearn to walk every morning, clean your teeth or whatever. But when it comes to relationships, it's key to just be curious. So how was your day? And pause and just see what comes up. It's key to be, and that's being really present with someone. Tell me more. Tell me more about what that experience was like for you. That's really key. So that's how I see it. When people are like, I know he doesn't have any feelings, and I know everything. I'm basically
Yeah.
in relationship with myself.
But I think you've actually hit on the key there, where I think it's not a sort of a good or bad thing, and I think that we all do it because that's the thing, like that whole idea of quickly putting something into the same bucket as something else to just avoid having to learn to walk every morning. Like that's practical. Like
Hmm.
the thing itself isn't bad. It just basically gets you into trouble when you kind of I think that awareness is really really helpful. Like where I usually see it most is that when people that's quite funny because like you can almost expect it when people come and say, oh, I wanna put together an online program. Okay. Yeah, no. So do you have an idea of who it's for and why they want it? Yeah, no, I've got that all worked out. Okay. So have you spoken to anybody? No, no, no. I know what needs to be in there. So, and the funny thing is, I mean, I've done it too. Like it's not, I can't sort of sit there on the high horse. I mean, it's like, yeah, I've also, because at the end of the day, when you're teaching something, then you probably do know better than most people. Like, but when you think knowing what people need and knowing what people want are the same thing, then you're wrong, right? Because it's that same thing. You are well advised to go before you go and spend a whole lot of time and energy and money building something. You might want to, ask people, so how do you see that problem and what would be helpful for you? And it's quite and the result or the result of not doing it, well, nobody's going to buy your thing. It's that simple, and you can know what they'll need or you want. If they don't see it that way, what you say won't enter, won't register. And it's the same for websites. And it's the same, it's that same concept. Like when people are like, oh, on my website, I want this and that. When you see what people are writing, and I'm like, why would anybody care? Because it's so full on written from their own perspective. And it's really difficult to put yourself, like to remove yourself from that and put yourself into the shoes of another person. So often it's like, well, it'd be actually so much easier if you just ask somebody else, right? And actually be curious and say, well, how do you see this? And what do you think would be helpful? Rather than me assuming. And then on top of it, if I'm, I can assume sometimes if I don't have the opportunity to ask, I might have to assume, but to just be open to the possibility that what I'm sure is right might not be. I think that's what allows that hole, that little crack in the matrix for an insight to even come in. Because I think even when you're so sure, it's even hard to have an insight like that aha moment. You go, that's even hard. I think that's the whole problem. It's really hard to try to even go in there if your little wall of certainty is so thick.
Right. You said that beautifully, and you remind me, and I hope I do him justice, with Thomas Hubel. It talks about this fragmentation between us is really a trauma symptom.
Mm.
And if we in relationship, if I am the listener and I'm receiving you and I'm really tuned in to, think of it like a guitar. The guitar's got its body and it's got its strings. If you are the strings and I am the body, we need each other. But there's a listener and there's a speaker, and the speaker's giving off very many messages, not just the words that are coming out. And if I can be there with you and be curious about it and just listen and be with you and not necessarily have to jump into the next thing, that's where we come together. And even now, as I'm talking to you, I'm like feeling your presence and your listening, that you're here with me. And that makes me feel like, okay, we're playing a tune together. But if I think that I know everything and there's nothing more for me to learn from others,
Mm.
then that's certainly going to impact our relationships and how we show up.
I love the guitar strings because I think it's one image of that is the guitar strings and the body, but I think even like the individual strings. Like if you were a string, well, no, I'm rigid, like I'm here, that I cannot pick up any vibration. Like, but when you think if you touch one string, the vibration actually, the other one starts to vibrate as well. And if one is totally rigid, then there's just no music, basically.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's powerful in also healing, in the
Mm,
healing work. And that's why you sometimes hear couples who like they'll come to me, they say, we've been stuck for 2 years because they think they can do it by themselves. But part of that healing is we need that resonant body. We need
mhm.
a healer or a therapist or a coach or a good friend who's going to be there, because also trauma makes you think of fewer resources. And when you come to someone else, you can put all your resources together and have a look at this more clearly.
But that's where this whole idea of um, I think I know, that's where this is really hard. This is where it really bites you in the butt because if you think you know, you're not going to seek a coach or help. Like you don't seek help. That's the problem, right? And that's where I see it too. When people like, oh no, I know how that works. So that's the other part where
Mhm.
you often see it, with oh no, I know how to set all this up, like the tools and stuff. Like yeah, I know. And you look at what they're actually doing, and I'm like, you clearly don't. But as long as you're convinced that you do know, you're not gonna reach out for help and you're not going to accept it if somebody offers it. You're not seeing the opportunity of learning anything new because you just like close.
Right. So I
That's why
love
I think
that.
that's so dangerous, right?
I love that what you just said about you also have to be able to be open-hearted enough to receive
Mm.
and be modest enough to know when you bow your head,
Yeah,
when you walk this earth, that there is so much more for you always to learn.
yeah.
Thank you,
Beautiful.
Anka.
I think that's just the perfect place to land the plane.
Thank
Awesome.
you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.